Hello fellow gardeners, welcome to the Humus Heritage channel. If you've spent autumn weekends filling garbage bags with fallen leaves and spent plant matter, only to haul them to the curb, we have a revelation that's going to change everything. Today, we're sharing a simple practice that turns your autumn debris into the most valuable soil amendment your garden will ever receive, by burying it directly in your beds. Autumn cleanup, the dirty secret. Every autumn, the same ritual plays out. Leaves tumble, perennials collapse, and gardeners reach for their bags. Bins overflow, trips to the green waste facility multiply. Here's what nobody talks about: that bagging and hauling is actually removing fertility from your garden. Those leaves and spent plants contain carbon, nitrogen, and minerals your soil desperately needs. Instead of recirculating these resources, we've been conditioned to treat them as waste. The environmental cost compounds too. Municipal composting facilities require energy. Landfills with organic matter in anaerobic conditions generate methane, a potent greenhouse gas. Meanwhile, your soil becomes depleted and dependent on external inputs. But there's a better way: return what the earth has given you, directly to the soil. Beyond the compost pile, why burying is superior. Most of us know about composting, and many maintain compost bins. Composting is valuable, but burying autumn waste directly into garden beds is fundamentally different and often more efficient. Consider the immediacy. Composting requires months of waiting, but with buried organic matter, decomposition begins instantly where it matters most, in the root zone of your plants. This is in situ composting, and honestly, it's far more practical than managing a separate pile. Second, think about nutrient delivery. When you bury leaves directly in your beds, nutrients released during decomposition are captured by the surrounding soil immediately. Root systems can access those nutrients as they become available, instead of waiting for finished compost to be spread. There's no loss to runoff, no volatilization, and no nutrients locked away in a distant pile. The soil itself really becomes your composting vessel. Buried organic matter also breaks down more slowly than in a compost pile, so it extends those soil-building benefits across a longer period and creates stable, lasting improvement. You're building a permanent soil enhancement strategy, not just a temporary fix. The unseen magic, microbial power and carbon sequestration. So, what happens beneath the surface when you bury leaves is honestly pretty remarkable, and it's backed by solid science. Your garden soil is a living ecosystem, teeming with bacteria, fungi, protozoa, nematodes, and arthropods. This soil microbiome is actually as complex as the human gut. When you bury organic matter, you're providing a feast for this invisible community. Bacteria immediately colonize the newly available carbon. Fungi send thread-like hyphae through decomposing material, breaking it down and creating channels through soil. Earthworms tunnel through, fragmenting leaves and mixing them with mineral soil. This activity transforms the very structure of your soil, creating aggregates, clumps held together by fungal networks and bacterial secretions. These aggregates are the foundation of healthy soil structure. The carbon sequestration is equally important. When organic matter decomposes in your garden, carbon becomes incorporated into the soil matrix itself, not released as carbon dioxide. This stored carbon builds soil organic matter, a reservoir that improves fertility, water-holding capacity, and drought resilience. Compare this to landfills or poorly managed compost piles where anaerobic conditions produce methane, roughly 30 times more potent than carbon dioxide. Your garden sequesters carbon, while building fertility simultaneously. The practical effects are visible and measurable. Garden beds where organic matter has been buried show dramatically improved drainage. Clay becomes more workable. Sandy soils gain water retention. Earthworm populations increase. Microbial-generated nutrients become more available to plant roots. Over time, you'll notice plants requiring less supplemental fertilizer and water, while showing greater vigor. That's the microbiome at work. Here's your how-to guide. Simple steps to success. Burying autumn waste is honestly remarkably simple. Start with location. The best places are areas where you'll be growing plants the following season. Vegetable gardens, perennial beds, shrub borders. But you'll want to avoid burying materials directly where you plan to plant tender seedlings in early spring, since actively decomposing matter generates heat. Instead, Focus on areas where established plants will benefit from nutrient release. Depth really matters here. Bury leaves and small debris about 6 to 12 inches deep. In clay soils, aim for the shallower end to promote better oxygen circulation. In sandy soils, go deeper to maximize water retention. Avoid burying at the surface. Exposed organic matter attracts pests and, well, looks untidy. A 6-inch burial keeps everything intentional. For leaves, just layer them directly and cover with soil, or create what's called lasagna beds. That's alternating layers of leaves, grass clippings, and soil. For larger debris like spent tomato vines or perennial stalks, cut them into smaller pieces first to speed decomposition. Skip branches thicker than a pencil, save those for separate composting. Now let's address some concerns that might stop gardeners from trying this. Will burying attract pests? Actually, buried organic matter attracts beneficial decomposers, millipedes, springtails, and creatures that accelerate breakdown. Rodents rarely appear unless you're burying food waste, which you really shouldn't. Keep materials to garden waste only. What about smell? Properly buried organic matter rarely produces odors. Compost pile odors typically result from anaerobic conditions. By burying in aerated soil, you maintain aerobic decomposition with minimal smell. Will it harm plants? This is the biggest misconception. Burying organic matter doesn't inhibit growth. It enhances it. You're providing exactly what plants need, a carbon-rich, nutrient-dense environment. Decomposing material doesn't steal nitrogen. It exists in the soil profile where microbial activity and roots interact beneficially. Unlock your garden's potential. The transformation happens gradually, but it's honestly undeniable. As autumn turns to winter and winter gives way to spring, buried materials begin their metamorphosis. Leaves break down, soil organisms proliferate, nutrients are released and made available to emerging roots. By early summer, your plants will be visibly more vigorous than in previous years. Over multiple seasons, the cumulative effect becomes striking. Soil becomes darker, richer, crumbly. Watering becomes less necessary. Fertilizer requirements drop. Soil-borne diseases decrease as the thriving microbiome outcompetes pathogens. Your garden becomes increasingly self-sufficient and resilient. This autumn, give it a try. Choose one bed or section. Bury your leaves and spent plant matter. Document your observations over the coming months. Share your results with us. We'd love to see your before and after photos and hear about changes in your garden's health. Thank you for joining the Humus Heritage channel. If this guide has inspired you to transform your autumn cleanup approach, please subscribe for more practical, science-backed gardening strategies that save time, money, and resources while building healthier soil. Share this video with fellow gardeners in your community. Happy berrying, and we'll see you in the garden.